Are you totally different when it comes to sex and copulation? Have you judged yourself out of receiving pleasure? Have you judged yourself into receiving pleasure in certain ways and excluded other ways? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here's the host of The Pleasure Zone, pleasure diva and body whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight we're going to be actually talking about something that's trending in social media. There's a hashtag that's been out pretty much on everybody I know has either seen it or has tweeted it or put out the hashtag somewhere. The hashtag is #metoo. This hashtag actually came about, I think it was Alyssa Milano who started it up again, talking about sexual harassment and more than that actually in the workplace. And she was talking about producers, directors, all kinds of people that were women, and also, utilizing their power or so-called positions of power in order to get all kinds of things like sexual favors toward women or all kinds of stuff. So it's a pretty intense conversation, and it's going to be an interesting one. I think there are there's quite a few people who are interested in joining this conversation for sure. And so if you are one of those people and you're listening and you'd like to be part of this conversation, you are more than welcome to jump on and jump in with us. And it's a very funny thing actually to me that one of the funny things to me is that there are people who are actually really upset about this hashtag going out, that men are putting the hashtag on their site. So it's a funny thing to me in that it's somehow lost that anybody could actually be sexually harassed, molested, abused, or raped. It's mind-boggling to me that even if you are a woman and you've had that show up in your life and your body has had some kind of violence occur to it, that you would deny that it would be possible for that to even show up for a man. I personally know many men who have had either been sexually violated as children, or there's been violence done to their body or their genitals or whatever. It's so common that it's freakish actually. Even in Canada, there was about 20 years ago, there was a whole and I guess across the world really, there was a whole rush of young boys coming to the forefront, who were young boys and who are now adults mostly, coming to the forefront about sexual abuse and molestation in the Catholic Church. So this is not news, and yes, this does show up for men's bodies and women's bodies. This is not a topic that is only for women. So I highly encourage, if you are a man and there's been anything that's ever I don't like to say happened to you, because it's not really a happened thing. It's like, for whatever it is in this lifetime, your body showed up at a place that there was also abuse going on. And I'm really curious, and I'd really love to hear from people out there who have approached this topic, looked at it changed it and looked at it from a different perspective even, or now no longer see themselves as victim and no longer see themselves as survivor, maybe see themselves as something even beyond a thriver, somebody who actually can acknowledge all of everything that's been in their life, that they are actually part of it. And I say this, and I get that this is not going to comfort a lot of people. I'm not going to get into my story because I don't know that the story is what matters. And I find, the hashtagging Me Too to get everybody to stand up, and you start to realize the massive numbers of people who have either had sexual harassment, sexual abuse, where basically there's been anything that's gone on that involves sex and a power struggle of any kind, or somebody exerting a position of authority in order to manipulate and get sexual favors or whatever from someone. Generally speaking, these things do occur when there is a position of authority, and the position of authority could be a boss, an employer, it could be a coworker in a different position, or somebody that you see as your superior, but they're not. You could have just decided that you were less than on a particular day or for a very long period of time. And, that sort of energy of less than can definitely send out some different energies that can be read in a way, for sure, where people will take advantage of that. I say this because I'm aware that I've done that. I say this because in my life, when I have been at my most, and it's not my most vulnerable, I'll tell you that. It's actually probably my most closed off, angry, repressed, my most unwilling to perceive, my most unwilling to acknowledge my own awareness, my most unwilling, basically what I was willing to do was shut off awareness, shut off receiving information, receiving myself, receiving my potency. And one of the things is that for me in my life, when I was choosing that, I chose a whole slew, a string of events that were violent. Some would say violent, vile, disturbing, number of things. So it's not, the story again is not relevant, and it's not about a competition of who has had worse than who. Because ultimately, what it comes down to is what can we choose now that will go beyond any of that? What can we choose now in our lives so that we don't recreate the trauma of our past? One of the things about the title of this show, when I wrote the description, I specifically put in the description that it's not really about people sharing their story, and whoever's choosing to come on and talk about this. I had a few people who were interested to join, so when they show up, that's cool. And if they don't show up, it's all me. And the people who were interested in sharing, quite a few of them, I am aware that they have gone through abusive situations, abusive relationships where, and a lot of them, my awareness is a lot of them would probably say something similar to me, is at the time they were not following their awareness, not trusting themselves. They were not truly willing to be as potent as they are, and they gave up a whole bunch of them in favor of somebody else's requests, choices, demands. They're not usually requests, because requests can be polite. Demands, manipulations. Manipulations can work in your favor, but in this case, this is like a manipulation of, if you don't do this, oh, if you don't, do exactly what I say right now, I'm going to harm your family, harm your life, harm the people that you love. Like, that is abuse. That is a manipulation. And people will actually threaten, if you don't have sex with me, I will harm the people that you love. I know this. I know this because this has occurred in my own life. And what else is possible beyond that? So what I do know is the more that I chose to be standing in my own power, to be truly willing to be all of me, which includes, it includes that part of me that has a bit of a killer instinct. And when I was willing to bring my killer instinct to the forefront, there was this sort of undeniable potency, this undeniable warrior that I am, that is willing to have my own back and is willing to make sure that this body thrives and survives. And there is a sort of time where I can tell you that were different circumstances in my 20s where I wasn't willing to do that. So what changed it for me was my willingness to have my own back, for sure. And my willingness to lose everything in my life, everything, my house, my daughter, my everything, my lover. Like, I was willing to lose everything to get at the time, a certain person out of my life, even if that meant that I would be killed or they would be. It didn't matter. I needed out. And it was a mess. It was a mess. And I can tell you now, honestly, I'm grateful for every minute of it. And it was an invitation for me and sometimes that's what it takes. These letters that have been going around social media. So the letters that have been going around social media with the hashtag metoo and people talking about that. I'm sorry if I'm cutting out, guys. I'm not sure what's going on here. The letters that have been going around social media are definitely like a step in the direction of people saying, this is what occurred. And what I'd really love to see is that this is what I chose that stopped it. This is what I chose, and this is who I am, and this is who I be, that actually had this stop. So are you willing to be your own strength, whether that's standing in your power, whether that's using your voice in your power, whatever that is for you? I am really, really curious to know, what is it that, if you're in a situation right now, guys, I'm telling you, anything is possible. I promise you, anything is possible. Even if you are in the most abusive situation under the sun, no matter what that person is telling you, no matter what they're trying to tell you to manipulate you to stay, and no matter how many mind fucks they're trying to screw you over with, and no matter how many times somebody is actually, telling you that you're wrong and you are stupid, and they invalidate the crap out of you so that you feel smaller than a freaking speck of an amoeba, less than a paramecium, which would actually probably be bigger than they'd like you to be. And if you are willing to actually acknowledge that this kind of shit, you really, honestly, people only squash you when they know that you're freaking amazing, and potentially you might also be a threat. So are you willing to be the threat you truly be? Because I'm telling you, honestly, if you are willing to be the threat you truly be, people will leave you the hell alone, and they will not fuck with you. So I know I'm kind of getting into preacher mode. I'm going to head off to break. And when we come back, for any of you listening that would like to join in, there are phone numbers you can call in. You can also Skype in. You can join me in the chat room if you have questions. I would love to hear from you guys. So let's head off to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about creating your life beyond the hashtag #MeToo here on the Pleasure Zone.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight the topic is creating your life beyond the hashtag #MeToo. So this is a little bit of a different conversation than we've had on the Pleasure Zone. I do have a lot of jokester in me. I do have a lot of investigator in me that likes to do all kinds of research. And tonight, this is a topic that is so in the forefront of social media. And I have talked about abuse on this show before with Dr. Lisa Cooney. I don't remember the date of that, but I did have a show with Dr. Lisa Cooney, who's amazing, an amazing facilitator to facilitate people beyond abuse. And she has a program called Roar, and she's amazing. She is a potent woman who has, a being in general, who has lived through some of the most hell-ish experiences that are not even imaginable. And she thrives, and she facilitates, and she changes lives, and she has awareness about abuse in a way that so many people, in the way that I mean that she has so much awareness that she's able to change it for herself, and then she's able to facilitate, other people to have awareness to choose whether they'd like to change it for themselves. So I highly recommend, if you are somebody who's gone through sexual abuse, sexual harassment, violence of that kind of nature, I highly recommend getting in touch with actually Dr. Lisa Cooney. You can look her up on the Access Consciousness website. She is a gift. Actually, I have a friend locally who had had quite 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 a gross, we'll say, like a gross teenage life with a lot of sexual abuse from a family member, sort of a family member, a friend of the family. And Dr. Lisa, my friend had been in therapy for years, and Dr. Lisa assisted her, and she is having an amazing life, so much more joy, so less running away from herself and more creating things. And everybody, it's a small town, people are noticing. People have been noticing for the last couple of years since her sessions with Dr. Lisa, like something has changed about her. Everybody notices, and they somehow know that my mom and I gave the connection to this woman. So we get a lot of curiosities like, hey, do you know what she did? I'm telling you this because that is one way to go about it, is to actually talk to somebody one-on-one. I did it for years. I didn't just do therapy because of that. I did therapy for a number of reasons. I had anxiety. I had gone through, I'd been raped when I was 25. I chose relationships after that in my early 30s that were highly abusive. And prior to that, I also had a lot of, like even in teenage years, I had a lot of strange tendencies. Like I had a lot of stuff that I was doing that would really speak volumes to anybody who ever looked at it to go, wow, was that person sexually abused or molested or something? Because a lot of the things I was doing would pretty much indicate that. So if something occurred in my early childhood, I've definitely shut it off. And I don't really require uncovering that. I'm just aware that, I did have that kind of behavior. And I'm also aware that all of this stuff is changeable. I'm aware that even when you've been in an experience that you thought, you would just die from. I have to say, like, I thought in my 20s, after being raped, I thought I would rather just die. I would rather just die and get off this planet, and I really just didn't want to talk about it. I really didn't even want to go to a doctor and get checked. I just wanted to die. I just wanted to jump on a big rock and smash my head and die. And so I get it. Like I get if anything has ever, occurred to your body, or your body's been inflicted with violence of any kind, sexual violence, physical violence, like I get it. I get that it sends you into a tailspin. It sends your body. So there are actual chemical reactions that occur in your body. So your brain will send signals to different parts of your body. I'm not going to get into it too technically, but your body will have reactions in order to have your body survive. And even though you might feel like suicidal, there will be things that are triggered for fight or flight that will likely, if you are a fighter like I am, will get you to try and stay and fight for your life. And as much as I wanted to fly and jump and hit my head on a rock, I didn't. And those things, those triggers in your body that get like those signals that get sent off to your thyroid and your adrenals to get you into fight or flight mode, those same signals, the more you tell your story. So for example, if I sat back and told you every detail of the story, which is what police would require you to do if you wrote a report, which is what therapists often require you to do, recount the entire story. Some do, some don't. And, then what's going on is when you do recount it, if you don't have tools to identify that this is not now, your body doesn't actually know the difference. Your body will literally feel like it's being violated repeatedly by you telling the story about being violated repeatedly. So your body does not know the difference. And until you actually say to your body, so one of the tools is like, body, this is not now. You can literally say to your body, hey, body, this is not current. This is not now. It kind of will get your brain to go, what? Like, it kind of shakes you awake. So oftentimes, telling the story can often get you back into the whole, your physical, like complete physical reaction as if it's occurring again, which sends your body back into fight or flight mode, which throws everything off kilter, which, when you're in fight or flight mode, that's all your body wants to do. It doesn't care about digesting food. It doesn't care about sleep. It doesn't care about certain things. So your body will literally start to shut down because it's just trying to survive. Even though it's like counterintuitive, it's trying to survive, and yet it's not doing all the functions that it actually requires in order to function fully and to survive and to thrive. So if you can do anything and just understand that your body actually requires you to change something, to look at the story. And one of the tools that I started using was to start to play with getting the energy out of my body and putting it outside my body and looking at it. I actually taught a class a few weeks ago, a 3-part class called Becoming Fluent in Energy. One of the exercises I personally use, because I find it easier, is that instead of trying to look inside of myself for what's going on, I might notice that energy. Say if I had the thought of, hey, if somebody were to ask me now about, what occurred when you were 25, I wouldn't be telling the story and my body would not be reliving it. I'm telling the story right now and my body is not reliving it where it used to, and I would cry and go into convulsions and relive it. Now I can tell it, and I literally take that energy of everything it is, and I take it and it's like a giant balloon. You can even imagine it like a balloon if you like. You can take it like a giant balloon and blow it out of your body. So like all of that, and just get it out of your body. That was one moment in time that occurred. And if you actually don't make a new choice or choose something different, that one moment in time will rule your life for the rest of your life. And if you allow it to, it will do that. And if you choose it to, you can change it. I promise you can change it. And you can, so the one tool is you can literally start using a breathing technique, which would be, I don't like visualizing, watching a show with no sound or music, because the sound and the music is usually what triggers our emotions to also think that it's real. So it's a visual, and then you can just ask, is this now? This is now. Okay, no. Okay, cool. If this isn't occurring now what? Now what can I choose? Okay, cool. So what's real now? You literally start to have a conversation with yourself to get, where am I? Who am I right now? Right in this 5-second increment, who am I now? So if you are obsessing about a past violence to your body, harassment, or any of that stuff, if your mind can't get past that, and your mind is super creative, it'll recreate it like a movie constantly in your head until you literally tell it like a crazy, like the movie is going nuts until you press stop. Press that stop button and go, stop. Literally, if you press the stop button in the middle of a movie, what will it do? It will stop. So those crazy thoughts, you can literally go, stop. Is this true now? Is this true right now? Is this real right now? Is this occurring right now? And your body will start to, the more you ask it, your body will start to calm down. The adrenal overdrive will start to calm down. So just know that if you have had that and your body is on this extreme overdrive and a little paranoid and constantly looking over your back to, oh my God, is this going to happen again? The thing is, when you're in extreme overdrive, paranoia and worried and looking over your shoulder to, is this going to happen again? You start asking the universe for it to show up again. That's one of the things. And the other thing is that you are actually shutting off your awareness that if it were to occur, or if that same energy was to show up, you're so freaked out that you can't actually perceive that energy and choose to either be there or not be there. So for those of you who have ever had any kind of violence in your body, I guarantee you, your awareness, whether you were a baby or whether you were 25, whether you were 40 or 75, you are far more aware than you're willing to admit. And even if you just begin to acknowledge, wait a minute, stop, was I aware of that? Yeah, I was. And I chose it. And please don't make yourself wrong for showing up in the space where maybe there was violence or rape to your body. Please don't make yourself wrong for that. Yes, you might have had an awareness of that, and it wasn't the first time in your life you negated your awareness. And it probably won't be the last time in your life you negate your awareness. But if you do keep and continually acknowledge that you are aware and that you have awareness, you can actually know when that energy shows up or is present and not be there. You don't actually have to be there. This is, I know it just made it sound like you chose it. I'm not trying to say that so much as I'm trying to say you were aware of it on some level. Why do I know that? Because when I was finally willing to admit to myself that not only was I aware of what was occurring when I was 25, I was aware of what was occurring the 3 other times when my life was threatened, and several other instances as well that were violent, that were abusive, I was aware of them, fully and completely aware of it, and not willing to choose different, not willing to be more potent and powerful than any of it. Now there's a little topic. And so being more potent and powerful than any of it, I want to actually give you guys a little tool about that. But first we're going to go to break. So when we come back, we're going to get into being more potent and powerful than the crap.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic. Apparently, I'm very popular right now, and my phone is ringing. How's it get any better than that? And if it happens to be somebody listening right now, that's not the phone you call in on to be on the radio with me. So call one of our other lines. That would be great. So one of the things that came out of my mouth was to actually be more potent and powerful than any of it, right? So what does that mean, and how do you choose that? So one of the things when there's been violence to your body, or you've been sexually harassed, or there's been any of this stuff where you feel like you are somehow small and weak, I got to let you know, all of that is a lie. It's a lie, and the only time that anybody tries to squash you or would like to squash you is because they see you as a threat, because somewhere deep down inside they know that you are way more powerful and potent than they are willing to be. But what they are willing to do is squash the shit out of you if you are not willing to be more powerful than them. So, are you willing to be more powerful and potent than anybody who's ever been a rapist, who's been a sexual harasser, who's been a physical abuser, who's been an emotional abuser, who has played the passive-aggressive bullshit with you? Are you willing to be more powerful and potent than any of that? So I know you might think, and I know because I know that I at one time thought that all of that energy was far bigger than me and overwhelming, and I felt like I would never, ever get through it or over it, thus thinking it would be far more easy to jump off a cliff and hit my head on the rock. And I didn't choose that because somewhere I also am an innate fighter and was like, I also at the same time wanted to find them and kill them. So there was a bit of a polarized reaction going on, but a lot of what was winning out was the desire to just off myself and leave the planet, because I thought my chances of finding them and actually killing them were pretty slim, and I also didn't want to get caught for that. So I chose not to do that, and what I did choose is I ended up doing a lot of therapy, and what I didn't get out of therapy, but I did get out of my own awareness, to be quite frank. And my own awareness developed a lot, and I got more and more awareness through the tools of Access Consciousness. And this, I've not necessarily heard this tool in Access Consciousness. It's just something that I'm aware of, but it doesn't matter where it comes from. I feel it might contribute. So what you can do, and I think that you might have heard this in other types of work as well, if you can get the energy of what it is, and like I was saying before, get that energy out of your body instead of having it in your body. So whatever that is. And how do you do that? Literally, you just ask. It's like everything that's sitting in there, all the abuse, all the turmoil, all the victimhood, all that, just like go, okay, body, let's take that outside the body. And then you can either blow it up until it disappears. And how do you do that? Well, you just ask. Literally, guys, it's so ridiculously simple that you might think that it's just crazy. You can literally just ask for those molecules to expand and dissipate and turn and flip and turn and flip and turn until they change and they no longer have a charge on them. That's one way. You can also get you to be far bigger and greater than that. So that can stay the size that it is, whatever size that is. But just know that that was just a very tiny, tiny moment aspect in your life. Even if it was multiple times that it occurred, it is not you. It is not your life. You are not your story. You are not a victim. You are actually an infinite being. And an infinite being is not minutia. An infinite being is not a tiny freaking speck. An infinite being is a massive, potent motherfucker of magnitude that can freaking take on anything and change anything at will. So, how do you be that? How do you be that? That is actually who you be. And one of the greatest ways to start choosing that is to find something fun. And in your life, you might have chosen that fun is never going to occur again because of all this crap that's shown up in your life. And I'm telling you, find something fun. It can be ridiculous. You know, for those of you who know me, know that I have a puppet named Kiki. Why? It's not just because I'm a lunatic. It's because Kiki is like fun and crazy for me. And I will randomly dance to different cultural music in my house because my body will move to it. The other day I was Romanian dancing. I'm not Romanian, but I know how to Romanian dance. So I will just find things that will actually be fun and silly, and my body can then move the stuff out of it. So whenever you try and make anything serious, it actually can kind of become a detriment, because then you make it significant and then you make it very important. And this is not important. This is just a choice. Go out and have some fun. Go out and start to breathe and live again. Because when you choose to breathe and live and have joy, you already won. You are already a thriver. Just you choosing joy actually changes so much about your physiology and your chemical reactions in your body and the chemical reactions in the bodies that are near you, because you're an electromagnetic force that is sending off signals all the time that will impact the signals of other people's signals. And if you are choosing to actually create more on this planet beyond victimhood, you will choose to resonate at a different vibration so that you can actually give that impact of a different choice, a different information, a different life to the people that are around you, the people, even if you don't know them. They're around you, and you can impact them and change your life and their lives just by you choosing to resonate joy and be that. And yeah, is it really foreign? Yeah, maybe it is, and maybe it's a practice, and maybe choose for 3.5 minutes a day. Why 3.5 minutes? There's no reason. I just threw a number out of nowhere. If you'd like 7 minutes or 12 minutes or 21 minutes, go for it. Give yourself a speck of time, a little bit of time, to actually change that pattern so you're not wallowing in the victimhood. I'm not saying you have to let go of your story. I'm never asking you to do that. If your story serves you, keep it. If you like being a victim, keep it. But if you'd like to change it, you can change it. So adding some fun so that your energy will actually be far bigger than the energy of whatever that was. And it's when you make that occurrence bigger than you that it takes over your life, that you actually become a victim to the situation. And that might have only lasted 10 or 5 or 2 minutes of your whole life. And you are allowing that to be bigger than you. Any of it. You're bigger than any of it. And I think I lost you guys. I'm sorry. Am I back? I'm going to have to see if I have to call in. Okay, cool. I'm back. It's so random. I'm just like getting like really intense and then I get lost. No. So you are bigger than any of it, guys. That's what I was saying when I lost you, you lost me. So you are truly, truly, no matter what you think, even if your thought for 1 second brings you down, just say stop. That's the first thing. Stop it. Is this now? It's not now. Cool. Okay. Get it out of your body. Just ask the energy, okay, out of my head, out of my body, whether it's an emotion or a visual or whatever it is, whether it's a feeling, a smell, a taste, because definitely if anything like that ever occurred to you, those smells, feelings, tastes, scenes, they are tangible. And because they're so tangible, you are really creative, your mind is creative, you have a neocortex, it is highly creative. It will recreate the scenario over and over again. And because you have so many different things associated with it, smells, touch, tastes, and sounds, your body will try and recreate it completely and totally. So I'm asking you to switch it. Just switch it so that you are no longer running that story in your head repeatedly over and over again. Stop. Stop it. Get the energy out of your body. Ask it, leave my body now, thanks, and you can observe it. And when you ask it to get out of your body so you can observe it, you can actually change the molecules faster. When it's not in your body, it's really hard to own it. So if you just ask it to just even take, get out of your body 2 inches, it might not want to leave and go back to where it came from right away. Although who does it belong to is great. But sometimes when you really own that it's yours because it's your trauma and drama, just ask it to kind of sit outside your body like 1 foot and just observe it and go, okay, cool. You little motherfucker. You're just a tiny little motherfucker. I'm way bigger than you. Oh yeah? You try and ruin my life? I'm going to fucking kill you. And you know what? You can kill that energy if you like. You can send death rays to the energy that's actually been tormenting you. You can. Because why? Because you're freaking potent. You can use your potency, whether that shows up and it looks like anger or it has warrior, goddess, god energy about it that's really willing to take on anything. Use it. Use it to destroy your limitations. You can do that. So when you get them out of your physical body, take that energy out of your physical body, observe it. You can flip it around if you like. You can expand it, but you can also just have some fun with it. And if you do have some pent up, anger or whatever energy that's floating around that wants to punch somebody or kill somebody, kill that energy. Kill that limitation that's been stopping you, because you can. You can kill the things that have been stopping you. It's not the person. It's the energy that you're holding on to that's telling the story over and over again. That person, whatever they did, it might be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or repeatedly many times over your life, but they are not you and they are not bigger than you, and you can destroy the energy that they actually co-created. You can destroy it. You have choice with this. If you had it in your body and you took it out of your body, you can just destroy it. And for those of you who are a little more modern and played Xbox games, you can literally take it out of your body, make it look like a visual in front of you, like a screen from playing a war game on Xbox. Get out your gun with your fingers if you like, and just shoot the shit out of the stuff that has been literally running your mind, your life, and all of it. Use that to your advantage. So what occurs is your body goes into it's like a PTSD essentially. And one of the ways that you can get out of PTSD is to be intensely with the situation, almost like a reenactment of it, although I highly recommend having somebody to facilitate you if you are going to do that, so you don't get stuck in a slump, and then they can also facilitate you out of it. So being intensely present with all of it for no more than 20 minutes and switching the energy, you can actually change all of it and have it never be the same for you. So all of that stuff has an element of PTSD about it, just like you would say if you were in an airplane crash or a bus crash, or all of that has an element of PTSD, just like any kind of trauma to your body, whether it's sexual trauma or any other kind of trauma, emotional, physical. Your body may take a while to go through that, and you have choice, right? So you've got some tools that I was just giving you. There's facilitation you can have. I have awareness of this, but I highly recommend going to somebody like Dr. Lisa Cooney, who is a psychologist, or even Susanna Mittermeier, who has her PhD in psychology. I highly recommend going to somebody who could facilitate this in a really big way for you. And if you just would like to talk about it or have me walk you through some of the tools I used, I can do that. But I'm not fully trained as a psychologist to actually work with this. So I'm not trying to convince you guys to call me. I just want to give you some tools that I used for me to get past this, and to move beyond it, and to be willing to be empowered, and to be willing to be more potent and more powerful than that shit that I was letting rule my life for so long. And it was such a prevalent energy that it was actually being the dominant energy that was attracting more of the same shit. That's the kind of crazy that happens, is that it becomes a dominant energy, and then it actually starts to create everything in your life as similar, because it's a familiar energy. You keep choosing it. So I highly recommend, if you're wanting to create a more productive, fun, authentic, lucrative, abundant life, to start to choose out of victimhood and start to choose beyond that, and start to create your life beyond that. Because it's not just your life, it's everybody around you. If you have children, it affects them. It affects the way you have a relationship with them. It affects your lovers. It affects your family. It affects your coworkers. You don't even know who you're affecting. The thing is, when you change, you also affect all those people with change. Whether the change is from violence, and then you've gone and you've turned off your awareness, or you've done other things to avoid being you or being the potency you are, that affects everybody. Just like you choosing to be the potency you are affects everybody. No matter what you do, there's a ripple effect. You are not alone on this planet. That's the kind of message, that you're not alone. No matter what, you are affecting everybody, and everybody can affect you. And are you willing to be bigger than the shit that's occurred in your life, whatever that shit is? And like I was saying before, this is I'm not just talking for the women out here. I'm talking for the men too, who have had this in their lives, because I know, there are abusive relationships. There are women who abuse men. There are men who abuse men. There are, men and women who abuse young boys, just like it is with women. Abuse is rampant. Molestation is rampant. Harassment is rampant. And what can we do to change it? And the more we choose to change it for us, the more that ripple effect goes out to the world, and we can actually change the energy. I say entirely. So are you willing to be that powerful to change it for you, so that you can be the ripple effect that will change it for others, that will ripple affect others? And you know what? What ripple effect can we be that can change all of this #MeToo for all eternity? I adore you guys, and I'm so grateful for you listening tonight. I hope you got some tools that you can use. And if you need to talk to somebody, feel free to contact me on social media through Facebook or Instagram. Have a great week till next week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.